Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's a beautiful Friday morning. Today is January 23rd, 2026. We get together most weekday mornings at this time, 8 o'clock Central, to talk about the grant, talk about the resources. It's really about problem solving. That's what we're here to do. And we're here to solve two different problems, and they're non-competing solutions. One of which is if you know a small business owner that wants money, that needs money to start or grow a business, we want to solve their problem. And probably the best way to solve that problem is through a special purpose entity, SPE, as shown on the screen. I'm sharing our 509pacific.org website. So the first problem we're solving is helping people get money to start or grow a business. No out-of-pocket cost. We'll get to all the details in a moment. And then the second group of people that often come on our Zooms, they're not looking necessarily for money for their own business from that traditional perspective, but they're looking to get paid to help other people, right? Most of us have to work. Very few of us are independently wealthy, so we're just retired. So if we have to work, it probably makes sense to do something where we're helping others and that it's lucrative. We earn what we would call an adult income. So regardless of which of those two hats you're wearing, if you're here because you're looking for funding to start or grow a business, you're in the right spot. Alternatively, if you're here to help others get funding so you can get paid, welcome as well. So on our website, 509pacific.org, we have aspired to provide the critical information so a potential participant, someone that is looking for funding to start or grow their business, can come make an educated decision with on-demand information. So on 509pacific.org, here towards the middle of the page, we have the section on the SPE. With that, there's some introductory information, but we really dig deep through two links. On number one, there's a link to an on-demand YouTube training. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to register for it. You can view it anonymously. Gives you good information about the SPE, how that works, what's included. And then we even have a bonus training that's not a prerequisite that they watch, but we encourage them to, and we go even deeper. Now, in this bonus training, one of the things that we did is we really described the deliverables. What are the specific deliverables? What does the participant, the grant participant, specifically get through the SPE? What we don't want to do is spend every day going through that same message because it's available. So if you don't feel that you know thoroughly what an SPE is, how it works, and how people would benefit, what we recommend, come to 509pacific.org when you have a few minutes. This training and this training will get you up to speed. Now, our main purpose of our morning sessions now would be to answer questions you have. But if you've not watched those two trainings, I'd recommend hold the question, watch those trainings, and then come back on our next session, which of course, as of today, would be Monday. With that being said, for anyone that would like to proceed in using a special purpose entity for a guaranteed capital raise, it's really simple. Where we start is on number two. Now, let me put an asterisk there. If you are one of our affiliates, one of our distribution partners, which you can become an affiliate for free, it's just a bit lower on the website right here to become one. But if you're an affiliate, you probably would not direct people to number two. You could use the same on-demand education in number one in the bonus training if you wish, or we have a great information sheet that we've gone through that you can use to educate them yourself. So you can either use the canned education that's available, or you can use the info sheet and educate them yourself. But regardless, what happens then is we need to get them to fill out the simple application to see if they qualify for the SPE. If you're an affiliate, you probably won't direct them here. You each have a landing page. So you would direct them to your landing page so there's tracking. If you are a potential grant participant but not working through an affiliate, then coming to 509pacific.org is fine. We do, just for transparency, we do pay affiliates, frankly, a lot of money to help us get the word out and get SPE participants. But it's coming out of our side. So some people say, well, if they came directly to us versus through an affiliate, would they save money? Would they get a better deal? No, it's the same deal. It's just we are seeking to actively grow a national team so we can go educate more people and help more people. So, in summary, what we're not going to do today and every day is spend the same 30 minutes that we did before that's on demand or go through all the deliverables. What we want to do is really focus on the questions, the comments, the concerns, so each of you can make an educated decision. Do you want to use the SPE for your capital raise? If so, here's what we need to do. Fill out the app. Or if you're looking at being a distribution partner or a distribution partner, what do you need to know to go do your job to get people fed in? So, what I'd like to invite you to encourage you to do is if you have questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and type it into the Q&A. That's what we're here for. The Q&A is like a chat box. Okay, so with that, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to type in your questions, comments, concerns, rather it be from a grant participant side and or from a distribution partner side. In this training, so I'm waiting for you to put your questions in. So in the meantime, I want to discuss one other point. So in this training, we went through, as I mentioned before, just at a granular level, what are the deliverables? What is it that the participant gets? And one of the areas of a lack of clarity was how that first month 250,000 works. So that's what we broke down very much in detail yesterday. So that's one of the deliverables. One of the questions that we've also been getting is about the building out of the business credit profile. So again, if you've watched this training, you know that with the SPE, we're providing essentially a turnkey business, and it includes us providing the three C's because that's the key to getting funding. We provide credit, collateral, capacity. On the credit side, what that specifically means is we set up the DUNS profile and then we add trade lines. So I'm getting to the point. There's been a couple questions about, let's talk more about those trade lines. What do those trade lines exactly look like? First of all, as we attempted to clarify yesterday, we're not selling trade lines. The way the credit system works, a client should never buy a trade line. That is a bastardized approach that is probably not genuine and certainly could be considered fraudulent from banks. So what we do not do, nor would we encourage anyone to do, is quote unquote, buy a trade line. That's not the way it works. What we do is we apply for the trade line through the SPE, through the shelf court, get approved for it, and then it reports. So clarify that. But the questions have been more about what do those trade lines look like? Well, we work with each grant participant to determine what trade lines they want added. So commonly, we'll start with a company car and we'll ask, and they don't have to do this, but do you want a company car? Well, why would I want a company car? Well, we all probably need transportation anyway. It tends to be a bigger ticket item, so the trade line is bigger. It builds the profile quicker and better than anything else, and it's also tax deductible. Some people want company cars, some people don't. We're going to talk more about those in a moment. And then the next would be, okay, we could add business credit cards and or business lines of credit. So again, those are real, they're liquid, clients can use those. Sometimes people aren't as sophisticated as you and I, so all of a sudden they think, oh, this is just about getting business credit cards. No, 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 no. This is about getting large business funding, typically term loans. But since there are the three C's, credit, collateral, capacity, and we're providing all three, the way that you build business credit is to add trade lines, and business credit cards kind of make sense, right? Why would any business owner not want to have at least one business credit card? Why wouldn't you want to have that? So that's not the end goal, but that is a means to the end of building trade lines. There's also a lot of other options for trade lines, but those are the main ones. So, does that help those of you that just didn't have clarity of what these trade lines mean? And anytime I get the question, well, how much does a trade line cost? It makes me clear understand that I've not clarified with you all that no, you're not buying trade lines. We're adding true primary organic trade lines that are real that can be used by the client. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, and then we got some specific questions yesterday about business automobiles. So, do grant participants that's using the SPE, do they have to get a company car? No, doesn't really matter to me, but it makes sense. But no, it's up to them. It's always up to them. So then the question becomes, well, what type of company car can we get? And really, it's broad. What do they need? What do they want? If they're starting a tow truck company, it'd probably be a tow truck, right? If they're starting a dump truck company, it'd probably be a dump truck. But a lot of us are more in the white collar arena. So really, it's more about well, I shouldn't say personal, but it's more about transportation for them, the business owner, because we can write that off. It's a big trade line, makes sense. We need transportation anyway. So then often the question comes up, well, what type of company car can we get? And it's really up to the client what they want. Here's a deal that we just executed yesterday, and I'll switch. So some of you like really nice cars, and so we have a relationship with Porsche where we can pick up an allocation of their new cars. So what that means is with new Porsches, the demand is higher than the supply. So it's not like you can just go into the dealership and say, well, let me see your new Porsche 911s. Typically, there are none or there's very few on the lot. So instead, we work through Porsche to get an allocation of new vehicles that are being manufactured, and then we can pick those up for our clients even before they've hit the lot. So, and that's kind of the way you've got to do it, especially with this higher end vehicle. So this is a specific vehicle, not an example. Well, it's an example, but it's a specific example. So let's look at this. So it says March 2026. That's not accurate. It's scheduled to hit the dealership February 6th, 2026. So what I'm telling you is accurate. This is not accurate. So it's a nice car. Is it what everyone wants? No, not at all. But this is an example of a company car we secured yesterday that's in the business name. That's obviously a big trade line. And then, of course, it can be written off. I see Diamond's asking about the breakdown. So we should be able to go here to the breakdown. Okay. So when a client wants a company car, we're able to work with them on what they want. And we could either find something that's already on a lot, new or pre-owned, or even work like with Porsche, for example, to secure a vehicle that's configured the way they want. So we'll go through, because that's what I think Diamond was asking, what's the configuration of this vehicle? Because sometimes people want a customized vehicle that's above and beyond just the base. So this base GT3 was 235,000, but this is not what the customer wanted. The customer wanted the upgrade interior, and that added about 5,000. White is a color that does not have a premium cost. There's some color options that can be ten or $20,000 or more for custom colors, but this client did not want a custom color, so it's just a normal standard white. They wanted the Weissach package. How many of you are familiar with the Porsche Weissach package, which is 20,000? Anyone can say yes or no to the chat. Yeah, Donald's right. So it's a lightweight package that puts carbon fiber, hood, roof, different body parts to reduce the weight. Because people that drive cars like this are concerned about they want low weight because the lower the weight of the vehicle, the better it performs. Fuel cap, not a big deal. Label, not a big deal. For cars like these, typically our clients will want the front axle lift, and this allows the vehicle to raise by a couple inches by flipping a button. So when you're entering, exiting driveways and such, the front end doesn't scrape. The client wanted upgraded brakes, and that alone is 10,000 for just the brakes. A bigger fuel tank. The wheels are a significant upgrade. Wheels can be heavy on vehicles, and our client wanted the lightweight vehicle wheels. Now, what's really interesting about these wheels that the client wanted is that instead of having like 5 or 6 lug nuts, this has just one center nut, like a race car. So it has one center nut and then some other options. So the bottom line is this is going to be a new trade line, and you'd say, oh, okay, so it's going to be a trade line for 311,000, which is significant. Can you imagine a business that has a trade line for 311,000? That looks strong. That helps us position. Do we have to get high-end cars like this? Absolutely not. Can we get high-end cars for our clients in the SPE? Absolutely. And we'll get pictures when the client takes delivery on or around February 6th. But often this isn't the total price because you often will have tax title license. And if that's rolled into the financing, which again, the financing would be under the business, under the EIN. So that would add to it. A lot of times on these nicer vehicles, most of us will add a protective coating. It's not like a ceramic coat. It's called a wrap, but it's a clear wrap, so it doesn't change the color, but it essentially protects the paint. So this number could very well move up to 350,000 or so. So does everyone need a Porsche? No, no, no. Should everyone have a company car? Probably. Does a company car make a really nice trade line? Absolutely. But the point is, if you can bring people in, especially if you're one of our distribution partners, the question that you're asking people is remarkably simple. Hey, do you know anyone that's looking for business funding? Chances are, if they are not the person, they know someone. And then what do you need to do if you're a distribution partner to get them from that question into the system? Well, we're going to need to educate them a bit about what the SPE is. So we said you have two options. You can either use the canned on-demand information, which is here and in the bonus, or you can use that one-page flyer, the information sheet. And if you don't have that, give us a call. Our phone number's at the bottom, and we'll get that to you. It didn't cost you anything. And so it's an editable info sheet that outlines the value proposition. So you would either educate them with the on-demand training or use that info sheet. And then we need to get them into the system. Each of you should have your own landing page. And if you don't, again, call us and we'll get that fixed. But they will enter the system by filling out an application. The application has no upfront cost. There's no hard inquiries, but from that we can determine are they a good fit for the SPE. If you're new to our Zooms, you might not have seen some of the trainings, but we've broken down. You're going to find great transparency between these two videos. So if all that you know about the SPE is what we're talking about today, don't think that we're trying to hide things. It's just this is a short session. But if you go back and view the full trainings, you'll see all the details. All right, so let's get back to the questions, comments, concerns, and I'm going to do a couple quick questions for you. So, how many of you that are on the Zoom right now? We have 633 of you on at this moment. How many of you currently have a company car? Now, we define a company car as it's titled in the company name, not the individual's name. It reports on the business credit of that company. It does not report on the personal credit. How many of you, just yes or no, do you have a company car currently? Yes or no? So Jeff, Gilbert, Eduardo, Donald, Corinthian, you're not going to make me name off 600 people, are you? So if you don't, why not? Why not? Because if the goal is to have a fundable business, having the three C's is crucial. We go through detailed training about those three C's, of course, especially this bonus training. But the way that we build business credit is by adding trade lines and business automobiles, and it doesn't have to be one of the Porsches. And yes, I see Mary's asking, yes, we have an allocation of more. So this one is sold. I know it doesn't say sold, but it is sold. And deposit's been paid on it. And I know it says March, but that's not true. It's coming in February 6th. But we have access to more. But it doesn't have to be this car, this color, this design. But a company car is a really nice trade line. And that's something that people can benefit from, right? So if Joe, you, or Mary, or Christopher, or Rosalind, you're out driving in your company car, regardless if you're just a client or distribution partner, it's a nice physical, measurable benefit. So when people say, "Well, does that really work? Does the SPE really work for getting capital raise?" Yes, yes, and we guarantee it. We guarantee a minimum of 250,000, and that doesn't even include company cars. All right, so with that, what questions do you have? Because again, our primary purpose of these daily sessions shouldn't be that we have to teach you the same thing over and over. So if you've missed past trainings, come to 509pacific.org, view the base training and preferably also the bonus. You should understand how it works. But your role as a distribution partner is crazy simple. Just feed them in on the application. Or conversely, if you're an entrepreneur looking for funding, what do you need to do? Please come to 509pacific.org. At least watch training number one, preferably also the bonus, and then just simply complete the application. We have a whole legal team of funding attorneys that are here to help you get from where you're at to where you need to be. And the SPE has no out-of-pocket cost, no upfront cost. How can you beat that? So, does anyone need information today before we wrap it up of what to do next? If you're a prospective client, grant participant looking for funding, what do? Come to 509 Pacific, go through this information, fill out the app. Conversely, if you're a distribution partner looking to help people, what do you need to do? Well, definitely be familiar with this training. If you're not an affiliate, become an affiliate. It's free and easy. You'll get an email, you'll get a phone call welcoming you aboard, but you'll get an email with your link, and then you're going to submit your people to that link instead of this link. So it's tracked to you. It's crazy simple. It's crazy simple. So, with that being said, we'll be back Monday morning. Most weekdays, we're getting together to support you. But and Rod brings up a good point. It's not just company car, it could be a company vehicle because it could be a much different type of vehicle. Like I mentioned, tow truck, could be a van to transport patients. You're right, Rod. We should say company vehicle. But the concept is the same. We all probably need transportation. And if we can get something that's nice, that's cool, that is tax deductible, that helps build our credit worthiness, why wouldn't we want to do it? Just like this one. Again, yes, we'll get you pictures once it hits the ground at the dealership. All right, thanks everyone. We will see you back Monday morning, 8 o'clock Central. If you need any help between now and then, what do? You call, you don't call Ghostbusters, but you call 509pacific.org, 903-352-3390. Yes, we answer the phone live. It could be that there's more calls coming in at the moment than we have staff. Then leave a message and we'll get back with you. Thanks everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.